She wrote the note before she left. Just a name and a phone number scribbled on a piece of paper left on the kitchen table where her son would find it. She wanted him to know where she was going. She wanted him to know who she was with. She thought it was just a walk in the park. She never came home. Somewhere in Moscow, a man kept a chessboard in his apartment. Not to play, not for decoration. Every time he killed someone, he drew a cross on one of the squares. He had a goal. He wanted to fill every single square. By the time police caught him, he'd killed 63 people. One square left empty. This is the story of Alexander Pichushkin, the man they called the chessboard killer. And it starts with a swing set. If you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this is exactly the kind of story we tell on this channel. Now, let's get into it. We're talking Moscow, Russia. If you're not familiar, think of it as the New York City of Eastern Europe. Massive, dense, millions of people packed into apartment blocks stacked next to parks and metro stations. It's the kind of city where you can disappear in plain sight. And for one man, that's exactly what made it the perfect hunting ground. Before we go any further, where are you watching from right now? Drop your city and state in the comments. I read every single one. It's 1978. A 4-year-old boy named Alexander, everyone calls him Sasha, is playing outside in Moscow. Just a regular kid on a regular afternoon, messing around on a swing set like kids do. He falls backward, hits the ground hard, and then, before he can even sit up, the metal swing swings back and slams him in the head. It's a serious head injury, the kind that changes things. After that day, Sasha is different. His behavior shifts. He becomes aggressive, emotionally volatile, impossible to predict. His family notices, but what do? He's still a little kid. Kids fall. Kids get hurt. They assumed he'd grow out of it. He didn't. Here's the question I want you to sit with for the rest of this video. Did that swing set create a killer? Or did it just unlock something that was already there? Fast forward 14 years. It's 1992 now, and Sasha is 18 years old. He's drinking heavily, constantly. He's drifting. He's angry in that quiet, contained way that's somehow more unsettling than someone who screams. And then he reads about a man named Andrei Chikatilo. If you don't know that name, Chikatilo was known as the Rostov Ripper, a Soviet serial killer who murdered more than 52 women and children across Russia over 12 years. One of the most prolific serial killers in recorded history. A national horror story. Sasha didn't read about him with disgust. He read about him with envy. He didn't want to be like Chikatilo. He wanted to beat him. More specifically, he wanted to kill more people than Chikatilo did. 52 victims wasn't enough for Sasha. He wanted 64. Why 64? Because there are 64 squares on a chessboard, and Sasha loved chess. Think about that number for a second. 64 human lives mapped onto a game board, each one a move in a plan he'd been carrying around in his head since he was a teenager. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't rage. This was a goal. And Sasha was patient. Here's where things go from disturbing to genuinely chilling. Sasha decides he can't do this alone. He actually, and I want you to really absorb this, he asks a friend to join him on a murder spree. And for a minute, the friend says yes. I don't know what conversation leads a person to agree to something like that, but it happened. And then pretty quickly, the friend came back to reality and said no. He backed out. He wanted nothing to do with it. To most people, that's the friend making the only reasonable decision available to him. To Sasha, it was a betrayal. A few days later, Sasha invites his friend to the park. They meet up. They're alone. And without warning, Sasha grabs him from behind, wraps a rope around his neck, and strangles him until he's dead. Then he finds a sewer hatch nearby and drops the body in. Police question Sasha. He was the last person seen with the victim, but they have nothing on him. No evidence, no witnesses, no case. He walks. But here's the thing. Even though he got away with it, he's shaken. A brush with the police was enough to rattle him. So he makes a decision. He's going to stop. And he does. For 9 years, nothing happens. 9 years of Sasha living what looks like a completely ordinary life. Going to work, playing chess in the park, letting time pass. But he never forgot the feeling. What do you think keeps someone like this quiet for 9 years? Is it fear? Control? Something else? Drop your theory in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what you think. It's 2001. Sasha is 27 years old, and whatever dam he built to hold everything back has started to crack. The urge is back. stronger than before, and this time he tells himself he's smarter, more careful, more experienced. He goes back to the park. He spots an older man sitting alone. He sits down next to him and asks if he wants to play chess. The man says yes. They play, they talk. And then Sasha tells the man a story that today is the anniversary of when his dog died, and he's feeling low. And would the man mind walking with him for a while, just for some company? The man says yes to that too. They get to a remote area. Sasha pulls out a bottle of vodka. They drink a little. The man relaxes. And then Sasha hits him in the head with the bottle. Again. The man dies. The body goes in a nearby sewer shaft, and Sasha goes home and draws a cross on his chessboard. It worked so well, he does it again the very next opportunity he gets. Same park. A homeless man this time. Vodka, conversation, a walk, then a hammer, and again. By the end of 2001, Alexander Pichushkin has killed approximately 11 people, all of them lured with the same basic script: companionship, vodka, a walk. All of them disposed of the same way, all of them marked on the same board at home. If this story has you gripped right now, do me a favor and share it with one person who's into true crime. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps this channel reach more people. Alright, back to Sasha. By 2005, Sasha has been killing for 4 years without a single suspect pointing in his direction. And something shifts. Up until now, he's been targeting strangers. Homeless people, drifters, men who wouldn't be immediately missed. Low risk, low visibility. But now, he starts going after people he knows. His neighbor, a man he drank with regularly, gone. A woman who worked with him at the grocery store where he stocked shelves, gone. And then he kills 10 people who lived in the same 4-building housing complex as him. 10 people. Same building, same man. Nobody noticed. And that right there is when Pichushkin crosses a line that most killers never cross. He stops being careful, because he's convinced himself that he's untouchable, that the police are too slow, too incompetent, too unaware of his existence to ever catch him. He stops hiding the bodies in the sewers. He just leaves them where they fall. He starts hanging around crime scenes after the fact, watching the forensics teams work, watching the investigators comb the area, and silently mocking them for not knowing he's standing right there. It's almost like he wants to be seen, like the killing alone isn't enough anymore. Now he needs the game too. And then he makes a move that forces the police to finally pay attention. He lures a man into the woods and kills him with a hammer. The victim turns out to be a former police officer. Moscow investigators begin connecting the dots. The bodies, the locations, the method, and they finally say out loud what the evidence has been pointing to for years. They just have absolutely no idea who it is. Because nothing about Sasha quiet, chess-playing, shelf-stocking Sasha would ever make you look twice. Pause for a second. This man killed people in his own building, killed his coworkers, stood at crime scenes and watched the cops work, and nobody connected it to him. If that doesn't shake you, I don't know what will. Make sure you're subscribed, because we don't shy away from stories like this. Now, let's finish it. Her name was Marina. She worked at the same grocery store as Sasha. She knew him the way coworkers know each other. Small talk in the break room, familiar faces in the aisles, normal. One day, Sasha asks her if she'd like to go for a walk in the park after work. She says yes. But here's the thing. Moscow had been finding bodies in that park for years by this point. And somewhere in the back of Marina's mind, she felt it. That low-level unease you get when something feels slightly off, but you can't explain why. She went home after her shift to change clothes, and before she left the house again, she did something. She wrote a note. She told her son she was going out with a man named Sasha. She wrote down his phone number. She left the note where her son would find it. Then she went to meet him. They walked into the park together. And just like every time before, just like every single victim before her, Sasha waited until they were somewhere quiet and secluded. He pulled out a hammer. Marina didn't make it home. Hours pass. Her son checks the table, finds the note, calls the number. Sasha picks up, and with complete composure, he tells the boy, "We never went out. I haven't seen her." The son calls his father. His father calls the police, and this time, for the first time in 15 years of killing, the police have something. A name, a phone number, and within hours, CCTV footage from the Moscow metro station showing Alexander Pichushkin and Marina walking together, side by side, right before her murder. He's arrested. In custody, Pichushkin doesn't stay quiet for long. He confesses. Not to one murder. Not to a handful. He confesses to 63. One for every cross on his chessboard at home. 63 lives, methodically marked off like items on a to-do list. He tells investigators he was aiming for 64. Marina was supposed to be the last square. She was also the reason he never got there. He was convicted of 48 murders, the number the prosecution could prove beyond doubt, and sentenced to life in prison. He currently serves his sentence in solitary confinement, which under Russian law means 22.5 hours a day, alone in a cell. He has never expressed remorse. Here's what I keep coming back to with this case. The chessboard wasn't just a ritual, it was a worldview. To Pichushkin, people were moves. Strangers, neighbors, coworkers, a drinking buddy, all of them just pieces in a game he designed for himself at 18 years old. And the swing set? Neurologists will tell you that childhood head trauma can absolutely alter personality, impulse control, emotional regulation. The science is real. The injury was real. But millions of kids take head injuries and never hurt anyone. So where does brain damage end and evil begin? I genuinely don't know. I'm not sure anyone does. That's the question Pichushkin leaves us with. And maybe that's the most unsettling thing about him. Before you go, what time is it where you are right now? And what's the weather like? Drop it in the comments. I love knowing who's watching and when. Day or night, rain or shine, you're all out there somewhere, and I appreciate every single one of you. The chessboard killer. 63 victims. One empty square. A 4-year-old on a swing set. A teenager with a death toll he wanted to beat. A man who stocked grocery shelves by day and walked people into the park at night. It's how ordinary he looked. If this story hit you the way it hit me, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Every like, every comment, every share tells YouTube to put this in front of more people. And next time on Daily Crime Case, trust me, you do not want to miss it.